Rebecca Bender fell in love with a man who eventually coerced her into the world of prostitution.
And he said, "This is how it works in Vegas. I've spent a lot of money to get you here. I put first and last on an apartment. I filled your fridge up with food. And you're gonna need to earn that money back."
Rebecca feared for her own life, but more so for her young daughter.
When you have a trafficker that's waiting at home with your child, it says if you don't bring home $1,500, you're gonna find your daughter out on the corner.
But what happens in Vegas is now coming to light. Through the Rebecca Bender Initiative, an organization that equips first responders, teaches communities to bring healing to the broken, and mentors victims of trafficking, turning Rebecca's story of survival into hope for others.
Rebecca Bender is here with us now. We welcome you to the show today.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you say that our culture needs to change our mindset of what a sex trafficking victim looks like. What do you mean?
You know, I think that there's been a real misidentification with what human trafficking looks like. We tend to imagine movies like Taken or Pretty Woman, things where it's only women on street corners or locked in brothels.
Right.
But the majority of women in America, in a developed first world country, are lured away with coercion and fraud, often not abducted like it tends to show in the movies.
You know, I think what you just said may be startling to people in general, that this exists in America. We think of it in parts of Asia or maybe areas of the world where this kind of thing is an underworld scenario, but it's happening right in front of us in many ways in the United States. You said you were coerced. Talk about what you mean by that.
Well, it's never an abduction. It's where someone generally that you know and trust is luring you away with fraudulent promises. They really get to know your hopes and your dreams, and then they trick you to believe that they'll be able to help you get there. But once you arrive, that's not generally ever how it happens.
As I read your book, Roadmap to Redemption, I'll tell you a little more about where you can get this in a moment, but I was struck by how the common denominator seems to be some element of need. Either a physical need for money or a safe place to live, or an emotional need, as it was in the beginning of your own story, where you wanted to be loved, you wanted to feel appreciated and like somebody wanted to be with you. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think all humanity wants to be loved and wants to love, and traffickers, what they tend to do is, regardless of what type of trafficking and what type of culture they live in, all traffickers exploit the vulnerable. They look for someone who has a desire to love and be loved, but yet has a vulnerability that they can target.
And put some time and effort into that. That's what was amazing to me. I mean, sometimes this relationship building emotionally can go on for months, even a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Traffickers take their time, and a lot of them have more than one woman or child, and so
they can groom one
right,
while
they can
they're
groom one.
utilizing
Yeah, they're
the
all
other,
in different phases of growth or recruitment, brainwashing.
Did you ever think in the middle of your own story, when you were enmeshed in all of this, that maybe you'd never get out of it?
Oh, absolutely. There were definitely times where I just wanted to die.
Yeah. Did you feel like you know, I think there's such a low self-esteem that comes with this after a window of time, which seems doable and is even encouraging in the amount of money that can be made. You can get to the place where you start feeling like, this is my lot in life. I deserve this.
Yeah, it definitely becomes your normal. You get so far removed from what we would call like a normal person that it just feels like that world and my world, they just don't even know what my world would be like. And you get this real stark reality that I don't know what your world's like anymore either.
How can we change how we look at, how we feel about women who are trapped in this industry? Because even prostitution, which sometimes can be so looked down on and so judged, is often just another form of trafficking in a woman's life.
Oh, it is. I mean, almost every woman who's involved in prostitution is not there by choice.
Who wants to do this?
No, right. No one wants to do that. A lot of them don't want to be there, and if they had a different option, would choose it.
Yeah.
I think that it's important for us, in regards to changing our culture, to remember that sex sells, right? And America's no different. And with the rise of pornography and a variety of using sex to sell anything these days, we have to know that there's going to be a long-term consequence in our culture. And now we have youth for sale.
How did God intervene in your own life?
God stepped in and delivered me in the moment of an eye from drug addiction. I started using drugs to mask my shame and embarrassment of being trafficked. And I can just remember me hearing his voice for the first time. And I knew that God had saved me when others hadn't been. I knew other women who had died out there. And I kind of set me on this journey to find what purpose that he had for me that kept me alive.
There are lots of young girls, lots of women trapped, as you were, sometimes having their children used as, you know, the sort of hammer over your head. How did you get out?
Yeah, well, the traffickers definitely use that. I can remember several times my trafficker saying, if you don't come home, you're going to find your daughter on the corner. And so it keeps you in compliance, really. But finally, one night after the feds had came in and everyone was looking possibly at going to prison, and thankfully I was not facing a sentencing charge, but I was facing a fine. I packed everything I could fit in a suitcase, and in the middle of the night, I ran.
When someone reads Roadmap to Redemption, what do you want them to take away from it? Because this could be read by both a woman trapped in the lifestyle, the industry, and also someone who might not ever have had a relationship with someone who's come out.
Yeah, what we really hope that someone gets out of that is to really start shifting the way they see this issue in America. We do understand a lot third world trafficking or even kidnapping, but what does it look like in a first world developed country, and how victims self-misidentify, right? They identify as domestic violence maybe, but they haven't really understood trafficking in America either.
You know, you really need to read the book, whether you're a survivor of the sex trade or you want to help minister to the growing number of those coming out of this industry. The book is called Roadmap to Redemption, and it's sure to help heal the brokenness. It's also sure to inform, and we can't make a difference if we're not informed. So get a hold of it. You can get it through Rebecca's website, or you can also get it through Amazon. So, Rebecca, we thank you for your story and for coming and being so candid about how God redeemed your life.
Thanks.
That's awesome.